Hey everyone, welcome to Love to Create by Tonya. Today I'm going to be working on some spring and Easter DIYs. For DIY number one, I'm going to be using two of these wood bunnies. I think I got these at Dollar General. And then I'm going to take a couple of the wood carrots from Dollar Tree and some of the Greenery vine that I purchased at Amazon, and I will leave a link for that one in the description below. And then you're just going to need some rope twine and 4 of the little tumbler blocks. First thing I'm going to do is just take and cover these with the white chalk paint. And I ended up deciding that I wanted to do that same technique on these that I did in a previous video. And it's just where I mix up the cornstarch, the Mod Podge, and then the chalk paint together. And then I just dab it on where it has a lot of little bumps and ridges in it. And I really love how this one turned out. And I think adding the textured look to these thin pieces of wood really gives them a more high-end look. And I definitely think I'm going to be using this in a lot more of my designs. Now I'm going to go ahead and just mix this up. I would like to tell you how much I actually put in there, but you'll kind of just have to watch and see. I just want to get like a really thick batter consistency. And if you need a little more cornstarch added to it, you'll be able to tell as you start dabbing it on. You almost want it to kind of peek up like you would on a meringue pie maybe or something. But you'll have to let me know what you think of this technique in the comments below. Like I said, it's definitely one that I think I'll continue using. And then I decided to do that same technique on the carrots. And you can kind of go in the direction, you can see what I did there on the carrots, just making the lines go across, and it helped add to the look of the carrot when I start adding a different color on there. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of this mineral chalk paint and just lightly drag it through in different areas on the carrots and the bunnies. And you can see I'm going in the direction of how the lines would be on an actual carrot. And then I ended up taking the moss green and kind of dragging it upward on there, but I do end up adding that greenery vine, and I think that ended up just finishing the carrots off. Now I did take some of the ivory colored chalk paint and go over the bunnies. I was going to do the mineral, which you could have done that also, but I wanted that contrast between the carrots and the bunnies. And I think this is just a perfect color combination for that neutral farmhouse decor theme. Now the next thing I'm going to do is just add some rope twine and some of that greenery vine to the carrots and the bunnies. Now I did decide to go back and add just a little bit of that mineral throughout both of the bunnies, just to add just a little something. And you could have left that off, but I didn't want to do too much of it, just enough to kind of add just different little color tones throughout the bunnies. Well, everyone, here's how our bunnies and carrots turned out, and here is a short little clip of how I decided to display mine on my fireplace mantle. Okay everyone, for DIY number 2, we're going to make this little narrow carrot box. And I thought this would be a fun design because I know a lot of times we're making our boxes really big. And I wanted to make something really narrow that you would be able to display in small areas. Like my fireplace mantle is very thin, and that's how I come up with this idea. But what I'm doing is taking 2 of these little wood planks from Dollar Tree, some of the tumbler blocks, and just gluing those inside to make a very narrow little pocket. And then I'm just going to take some more of those little tumbler blocks and make a bottom for this little box. And it was a really simple design, and I definitely am going to be using this one more often, especially for my fireplace mantle where it is very thin and narrow. Now I decided just to use some of that ivory colored chalk paint, and I think I'm going to be pulling a lot of that in for my spring design. And I think it still goes with a lot of the gray tones that I have in my house. But you can see how that turned out with just a nice narrow little pocket to display your items in. Now I decided just to take a couple of these craft sticks, and they just barely fit. You could have actually added a couple more of those little tumbling blocks if you needed it to be a little more secure. Now I'm going to take some of this Easter grass that I found at Hobby Lobby, and I really like this. It was like $4.99, and it has little separate sections that you can pull out, and I think it's going to be really neat to use for lots of different DIYs. But you can see I just kind of popped those in there and hot glued them down, and then I'm going to be taking some of those little carrots from Dollar Tree and popping those in there. And then I'm just going to take some of these little sticker letters that I also found at Hobby Lobby and just write the word carrots 5 cents. And then I take my marker and go around the edges to just kind of age it up a little bit. And I think it turned out great. You'll have to let me know what you think of this DIY. And here it is completed, and I did decide to display this one on my fireplace. Now for DIY number 3. Now for this design, I'm going to be using some of these little wood pieces that you can purchase in an assortment pack from Hobby Lobby. And I'm going to be taking some of the circles and the teardrop shapes and just kind of forming them together until I can get the shape of a bunny, maybe laying on his back and kicking his feet up and just having a good time. And then I'm going to be doing that same technique where I take the chalk paint and some of the cornstarch and the Mod Podge and just doing that little spackling technique. And I love how these turned out. It ended up making just a really cute little shelf sitter, or it would even be great to put in your office. But it was just a simple little decor piece for the spring season. Well, everyone, if you don't already follow me on Instagram, I would love it if you pop over there and follow me. That way you can kind of keep a peek on upcoming DIYs, and then I post other creative things on there also. But you can find that in the description below or in the About Me section. Now I'm going to be taking my ivory chalk paint, and I end up putting just one coat of this on, I think, and then I start doing that technique with the spackling on there to make the little ridges. Well, everyone, I hope you're enjoying these DIYs today, and if so, don't forget to give me a thumbs up for this video. That really does help YouTube notice my channel. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you do so. And if you are a subscriber, I thank you so much for your support. I also wanted to mention that my daughter and I have been working on getting my blog set up. And when I do get that set up, I'll have a link to that in the description below. And on the blog, you'll find more in-depth details about my personal life and, health and cooking and just how my creative journey got started. But I hope for that to be a lot of fun. And like I said, I'll leave you a link to that when I do get that set up. And I hope that you decide to come over and follow me on the blog. Well, now I'm going to go ahead and mix up some of that cornstarch and the Mod Podge, and I'm going to take that ivory paint again and just make that real thick batter-like consistency until I can get that dabbled on here like a spackling technique, and it just makes these little wood pieces just stand out and look so much more high-end than they do. And I think I was talking while I just took one of those little sticks in there behind and used some of that peach colored acrylic paint and added that to add a little nose to the bunny. Now what I end up doing for this one to display it, I use one of those wood planks from Dollar Tree, and I end up staining that with some watered down truffle chalk paint. And then I use the little cubes to make the legs, to make like a riser out of this. And then I use those little pieces of grass from that Easter grass that I had purchased from Hobby Lobby. And I only add a few of those on here on each side, and then add in just a couple little sprigs of that Greenery from Dollar Tree. And I also took one of the plant label stakes and painted it with some chalk paint, and then that's where I used some sticker letters and done the little welcome spring sign. Now you could actually just make these little bunnies to set up on their own, and I may do that. They actually have some larger pieces of these little wood shapes, and I think I'm going to be kind of playing around with those. I really like that they're very inexpensive, and it's a very simple way to just add these little figures into your little decor areas. Well, everyone, I'm going to let you finish watching the rest of this one, and I'll talk to you at the end. Well, everyone, here's the finished DIY number 3, and I think it turned out adorable, and I hope you do also. Well, everyone, once again, don't forget to give me a thumbs up for this video if you enjoyed it. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, like I said, I hope you do so. And if you are a subscriber, once again, I thank you so much for your support. And don't forget to share with your friends. Once I reach that 2,500, I'm going to do a drawing for a giveaway. And then we're going to do another drawing when I reach 3,000 subscribers. Everyone, have a great week, and I will see you on the next one.